What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Gran Turismo 6 race car build. Today I have a Ford Mustang V8 GT. Now we're going to be running on a different track. This is Tsukuba. I think it's actually pronounced Suba, but I'm going to pronounce it Tsukuba because it sounds better. And yeah, the reason why I've done this is because I felt like Silverstone, it was a bit too towards the straight line speed cars. The faster cars were the ones that were going to do best, because Silverstone International is pretty much all straights. It's a lot of straights, pretty fast ones as well. So I thought I'd take it to Tsukuba. It's a bit shorter of a track, but it is a very nice track and I do like it. Has one decent straight right here. The rest of it's all like hairpins and stuff, so good variety, and it does balance it out a little bit. So I've taken all the other three cars we've had on this track as well. You'll see what times they did later on, but there has been a few little changes. Apart from the track, I've now turned off skid recovery force, so that is off. Makes it a bit trickier, gives it a bit more of a challenging edge to it. I've also changed it so that now, instead of using racing hards, the cars will be using racing softs. So yeah, that's just a little change. Now onto the Mustang. This car has, when you look at it, pretty decent figures. Stats, once again 550 pp like all the other cars in this series. Power is pretty damn good. The most powerful car we've had so far is the BMW 135i. That had 522 horsepower. This has 585 brake horsepower. That is a lot of power. Also, the BMW weighed 1,311 kilos. This weighs 1,305. So it's got a lot more power, and it weighs a little bit less too, which is kinda crazy. But then, and it's also front engine rear wheel drive like all the other cars have been so far. But then there is one problem. The weight distribution is absolutely awful. The BMW and the Honda were both 50 to the front, 50 to the rear. The Subaru BRZ was 52 to the front and 48 to the rear. So they've been very consistent. They've been pretty much the same front and rear. Whereas this car is not. This car is something like 67 to the front and like 33 to the rear. It's not good. It is not good, and that means it's really heavy at the front. I don't know why this is. A V8's heavy. Like, I mean, I guess it would be, but what are the other cars running? I'm pretty sure BMW, the Honda, and the Subaru, they're probably only like, what, 4 cylinders? This is a V8, and it is very, very front heavy. This definitely does show in cornering. On the straights, because it has a lot of power, this does do decent speed. It's getting up to around 125, I think, 130, which is about the same as the BMW, which I'm surprised at. I thought it would have been going faster, but it is about the same as the BMW. This car does accelerate quite fast, but the problems with it are, turning is horrible. You get massive amounts of understeer, because I'm guessing because of the distribution in weight. It's so heavy at the front that it's just causing it to understeer quite a lot. And the other problems with it is braking. It doesn't brake as well as the other cars. I'm not exactly sure why that is, because the BMW had pretty decent brakes, and this weighs less. Only a little bit less, but this does weigh less than the BMW, but the brakes aren't as good. It has race brakes like all the other cars, just not as good though. Don't really know why that is, but yeah. Cornering is a real problem with this car though. It's just so understeery. You have to slow down so much, and with the brakes not being great, and they lock up quite a lot, as you see around the first corner there, it is not fantastic. It doesn't work out particularly well. You end up going really, really slowly around the corners, having to brake early as well, loses you a lot of time, and it's not a very good car. It really isn't. I was expecting the Mustang to be really fast in the straight line, which it wasn't. It was about the same speed as everything else. Oh well, about the same speed as the BMW. And I did expect it to be pretty crap around the corners. It's worse around the corners than I thought it was. I actually didn't really look at the weight distribution until I drove it. I'm like, this is really bad. Had a look at it and I was like, this is probably why it's such a bad car. It is just really horrible to drive, and yeah, really not a good car. Probably the worst car we have had on this series so far. We go on to the lap times, and yes, it's at the bottom. We have the BMW 135i with a 54.987 at the top of the leaderboard, Honda S2000 with a 55.273, Subaru BRZ with a 55.908, and then the Ford Mustang with a 56.951 at the bottom of the leaderboard. The time that it loses is all around the corners. It's just so bad around the corners that it's kind of unbelievable, and I'm pretty sure that this is going to stay at the bottom of the leaderboard for quite some time, maybe even forever. I'm not sure. And the BMW is going to be a bit hard to beat, but I think if we get a car that's just a bit better around the corners than the BMW, then we should be good. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.